The day Lieutenant Commander Ethan Rowe learned the galaxy's darkest secret, he wished more than anything he could unlearn it. It had started like any other deep space survey mission. Ethan and his crew aboard the UNS Endeavor, charting unexplored regions beyond the Kuiper Belt. They were the first human vessel to venture this far into the unknown, their advanced propulsion and sensor systems pushing the boundaries of human exploration. But as they passed the orbit of the dwarf planet Eris, something strange began to manifest on their scanners. At first, Ethan thought it was a sensor malfunction, a phantom reading masking a true celestial body. But as they closed in, the anomaly stubbornly persisted, growing larger and more defined with each passing minute. "Sir, we're picking up a massive energy signature," reported Lieutenant Zara Nadir, the Endeavor's chief science officer. "It appears to be some kind of artificial construct, but the scale is unlike anything we've encountered before." Ethan leaned forward in his command chair, brow furrowed. "How large are we talking?" "Estimating a diameter of over 50 kilometers, Zara replied, her voice tinged with awe. "And the power output is off the charts. Whatever this thing is, it's not natural." Ethan felt a knot of unease tighten in his gut. 50 kilometers? That was larger than the largest known exoplanets. What could possibly generate that kind of energy signature out here in the dark between the stars? "Helm, take us in for a closer look," he ordered. "I want a complete scan and analysis. Whatever this is, it might be the most significant discovery in human history." As the Endeavor approached the massive construct, Ethan felt a growing sense of unease settle over the bridge. There was something unsettling about the object, as if it emanated a subtle wrongness that set his nerves on edge. He glanced over at Captain Emilio Alvarez, the veteran commander of the mission, and saw the same guarded apprehension reflected in the older man's eyes. "Lieutenant, what can you tell me about this thing?" Ethan asked. Zara's fingers danced across her console, parsing the flood of sensor data. "It appears to be some kind of immense power station or energy generation facility. The amount of energy it's producing is staggering, enough to power an entire system of colony worlds. But the design? It's unlike anything in our database, completely alien in origin." Alvarez leaned forward, his weathered features tightening. Any indication of who built it, or why it's here, out in the middle of nowhere?" Gara shook her head. "Nothing definitive yet. We're still analyzing the sensor readings, but there's one other thing." She paused, her brow furrowing. "This facility seems to be completely dormant. All systems are powered down, as if it's in some kind of standby mode." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. Standby mode? For how long? "Unknown," Zara admitted, "but the rate of entropy and degradation suggests it's been inactive for centuries, possibly even millennia." Centuries. Millennia. Ethan's mind raced, trying to comprehend the implications. An artificial construct of this magnitude, built by an unknown alien civilization, left dormant and abandoned for unimaginable lengths of time. What could have possibly happened to drive its creators away? Before he could voice his thoughts, a new alert flashed on Zara's console. "Sir, we're detecting a vessel approaching our position. Long-range scans indicate it's an alien craft, significantly more advanced than our own." Alvarez's eyes narrowed. "Have they detected us?" "No," Zara replied, "but they're on an intercept course. ETA 5 minutes. Ethan felt his heart rate quicken. This was uncharted territory, the first confirmed contact with an extraterrestrial civilization. Everything they'd learned, everything they knew about the galaxy, was about to be put to the test. "All hands, battle stations," Neuen Alvarez ordered, his voice calm and authoritative. "Helm, evasive maneuvers. Weapons stand by but do not engage unless fired upon." He turned to Ethan, his expression grave. "Lieutenant, get ready to make first contact." Let's hope they come in peace. As the Endeavor maneuvered to face the approaching alien craft, Ethan couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that had settled over him. Something about this situation felt wrong, as if they had stumbled upon something they were never meant to see. His gaze kept drifting back to the dormant megastructure, its immense size and power a silent, foreboding presence. The alien vessel slowed to a relative halt, matching the Endeavor's position. For long, tense moments, the two ships hung motionless in the void, connected only by the invisible threads of their respective sensor beams. Then, a communication signal, a simple tone, repeating in a steady rhythm. Zara looked up from her station, her expression equal parts wonder and trepidation. "Sir, they're hailing us. Audio only." Alvarez nodded. "Patch it through." A deep, resonant voice filled the bridge, its alien cadence both familiar and unsettling. "Unidentified vessel. This is Commander Tyran of the Caldari Exploration Corps. You have entered a restricted zone. Identify yourselves and state your purpose, or we will be forced to take appropriate action." Ethan straightened in his seat, clearing his throat. "This is Lieutenant Commander Ethan Rowe of the United Nations Space Command vessel Endeavor. We mean you no harm, Commander Tyran. We are on a mission of peaceful exploration, and we have detected an unusual structure in this region. We seek only to understand its origin and purpose." A brief silence followed, as if the alien commander was weighing his words. "The structure you have detected is not for your kind to study," Tyran replied, his tone edged with warning. "You will withdraw from this system immediately and cease all further exploration beyond your borders. This is your only warning." Alvarez leaned forward, his expression hardening. "Commander, we have come too far to turn back now. Whatever that structure is, it represents the greatest discovery in human history. We cannot simply abandon it." Another pause. Longer this time. When Tyran spoke again, his voice had taken on a darker, more ominous quality. "Then you have condemned yourselves. The knowledge you seek is not for mortal eyes. Once the Caldari made that mistake, and the consequences were devastating. We will not allow you to repeat our folly." Ethan felt the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. The way Tyran spoke, the weighted meaning behind his words. It was as if the alien commander knew something, some terrible secret that he was desperately trying to prevent them from uncovering. "Commander Tyran," Ethan interjected, keeping his tone as even and diplomatic as possible. "Whatever happened in your past, we are not your enemy. We come in peace, with no intention of causing harm. All we seek is to understand the origins of that structure and the civilization that built it. Surely there is some way we can reach an accord." Another long silence, broken only by the faint hum of the Endeavor's systems. Ethan held his breath, waiting for Tyran's response. Finally, the alien commander spoke again, his voice laced with a profound sorrow. "There is no accord to be reached, Lieutenant Commander. The knowledge you crave is not one that can be shared. It is a burden no race should bear, a truth that has driven species to madness and extinction." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. "What truth? What are you trying to protect us from?" "From the darkness that lies beyond the veil," Tyran replied, his words heavy with dread. "The entity that built that structure, that shaped the very fabric of this galaxy. It is a force of such unimaginable power and malevolence that mere mortal comprehension cannot contain it. To know its nature is to be consumed by it, body and soul." Alvarez's eyes narrowed. "Are you saying that thing out there is sentient? Intelligent?" "No," Tyran answered, his voice barely above a whisper. "It is far worse than that. It is a remnant, a shard of a being so vast, so incomprehensible that it defies all attempts at classification. A fragment of a cosmic horror that once spanned this galaxy and beyond." Ethan felt his blood run cold. Cosmic horror? What kind of eldritch entity could inspire such terror in an alien species? He glanced back at the dormant megastructure, its scale and power now taking on a sinister, otherworldly quality. "Then why leave it here?" he demanded. "If this thing is so dangerous, why not destroy it?" Tyrion's reply was laced with a bitter hopelessness. "Because we cannot. None of us can. The station was built to contain it, to keep it trapped and dormant for eternity. To destroy it would be to unleash the very apocalypse we have spent millennia preventing." Alvarez leaned forward, his expression grave. "And you've spent all this time making sure no one else discovers it, keeping the galaxy away from this cosmic horror." "Yes," Tyrion admitted, defeat heavy in his voice. "We have watched, we have waited, we have turned away countless civilizations from this accursed place. Yours is the first to breach our defenses in 1,000 years. And now—" He paused, a note of barely concealed anguish creeping in. "Now, you have doomed yourselves, and perhaps the entire galaxy." Ethan felt his stomach twist into knots. Whatever this alien entity was, the mere thought of it filled him with a primal, visceral dread, and now, because of their curiosity, their desire to push the boundaries of human exploration, they had awakened a horror that no one was prepared to face. "Commander Tyrion," he said, his voice trembling slightly, Is there nothing we can do? No way to contain this thing? To prevent it from escaping?" Another long silence, broken only by the faint hum of the machinery. When Tyrion spoke again, his words were laced with a fatalism that chilled Ethan to the core. "There's only one way. The Keldari have guarded this secret for millennia, sacrificing generations to keep the darkness at bay, and now that burden falls to you." Ethan felt his breath catch in his throat. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," Tyrion replied, "that you must destroy the station, detonate its core, annihilate it completely. For if that structure falls, if the entity it contains is unleashed upon the galaxy once more—" He paused, and Ethan could hear the weight of centuries in his voice. "Then all is lost. There will be no escape, no sanctuary, only the end of all things." Alvarez's eyes widened, the implications dawning on him. "You're asking us to commit planeticide, to wipe out an entire world just to prevent some cosmic catastrophe?" "I am asking you to do what we have lacked the courage to do for 1,000 years, Tyrion said, his tone tinged with a desperate resolve. "To make the ultimate sacrifice for the sake of the entire galaxy. For if you do not, then everything, every civilization, every species, every living being will be consumed by the darkness. There is no other choice." Ethan felt his heart racing, his mind reeling from the sheer magnitude of what Tyrion was demanding. To destroy an entire world, a civilization that had once flourished, all to prevent some unfathomable, apocalyptic threat? It was the kind of decision that no one should ever have to make. And yet, as he looked out at the dormant megastructure, he knew that Tyrion spoke the truth. Whatever evil lay dormant within that station, whatever cosmic horror it was built to contain, could not be allowed to break free. The fate of the entire galaxy hung in the balance. Ethan straightened in his seat, meeting Tyrion's unseen gaze with a resolute determination. "Very well, Commander, we will do what must be done." Tyrion's response was heavy with sorrow, but tinged with a grim acceptance. "Then may the gods have mercy on your souls, for you are about to commit the most terrible act imaginable, in service of the greater good." As the communication channel closed, Ethan felt the weight of his decision settle upon him, like a physical burden. He knew that what they were about to do would haunt him for the rest of his days, that the blood of an entire civilization would stain his hands forever. But he also knew that there was no other choice. The safety of the galaxy, the very future of all sentient life, depended on their willingness to make the ultimate sacrifice, to destroy a world in order to save 1,000 more. As the Endeavor's weapons systems powered up, Ethan said a silent prayer for the lost souls of the world below. Then, with a heavy heart, he gave the order to fire. The station's core erupted in a blinding flash of light, the shockwave rippling outward with devastating force. Ethan watched, his stomach twisted in knots, as the massive structure crumbled and collapsed, its immense power unleashed in a final, cataclysmic detonation. For long, agonizing moments, the bridge of the Endeavor was silent, save for the hum of the ship's systems. Ethan couldn't bring himself to speak, to acknowledge the weight of what they had just done. Then, a small flicker of light on the horizon, the first sign that their actions had succeeded. Ethan felt a profound sense of relief, tinged with unimaginable sorrow, as the dormant megastructure was consumed by the expanding wave of destruction, its ancient secrets buried forever. As the Endeavor turned and fled the scene, Ethan knew that this day would mark the end of humanity's innocence. They had discovered a truth so terrible, so apocalyptic, that it would forever change the course of their species, a truth that would haunt them for generations to come. For now, they had staved off the darkness, prevented the unthinkable from unfolding. But Ethan knew, deep in his heart, that this was only the beginning, that somewhere, out there in the cold, uncaring vastness of the galaxy, other civilizations would soon face the same impossible choice. The choice to destroy a world in order to save 1,000 more. And the galaxy would never be the same.